What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Circle of Debate podcast, MMA episode 9, UFC 264, the trilogy we did not know we needed, and we are getting it. The penultimate, maybe possibly the final fight between the Diamond Dustin Poirier versus notorious Conor McGregor. Both of them coming off, both of their last losses were to Khabib, and this is the fight that finally settles, the rubber match. They both have finishes against each other, both are knockouts, and this could be the last time we see them in the cage together, and I'm very excited to talk about every fight in the main card leading up to that. Our guests today are the Martyrs of Pain from the Championship on the Line podcast, which is Alex. Welcome back. It's been a minute. It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since the last major pay-per-view.
It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. Obviously, whatever side of the camera you guys see, Ivan, the devious one, Castellon, my actual host of the Debate podcast.
Your partner in crime. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for the audio technician. I am not at home, unfortunately. I am out and about. So I want to apologize to everyone, to all our viewers and subscribers. Wasn't able to make it home on time because of unfortunate reasons, but I cannot say. About getting
no
trouble,
worries.
I say it.
It's all good, brother. We're glad you're here. And I have no better way to put this, but the man that Kill Bill was based on, the founder of IR Fighting Training Systems, Engage Your Rage, Coach Rage, is back to school as filthy casuals on our awesome or terrible picks by the end of this segment. We are using the 1 minute round per fight format. They'll put a clock up for us. We'll talk about each fight in the prediction, and then Coach will come in the end, and he's definitely going to knock us out, man. His knowledge is that nuclear bomb. And I'm very excited to talk about these fights. I've got some graphics ready to go, and let's go with Alex, since he's on my top left. The first fight of the night is a last-minute replacement. And by last minute, I mean 6-7 days notice. The original opponent, I already forgot who it was because I've been focusing so
Louis Smoker.
Louis Smoker, that's right, the Hawaiian Samurai.
Okay.
Love that guy. I was excited for that fight as it is, but now I think we have someone from, I think, Nate Diaz's camp coming in on like 6 days notice with no UFC fights prior, and that's Chris Moutino fighting Sugar Sean O'Malley, who is a favorite by 835. I have the odds pulled up right here, and I'm going to get that clock ready to go for you, and I want you to tell me what you think's going to happen in this fight.
Yeah, like I said, like you said, it's a last-minute replacement. Chris is stepping in. It's going to be a big question, see if he's, in shape and he's ready. I know his record is 9-4. I know he's was a champion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know he had a belly, which is just tough one against Sean O'Malley. Like I said, didn't get a full training camp. Last minute replacement. It's going to be a big question to see how he performs. And sitting with Sean O'Malley, he's getting a different opponent, probably different, game plan going into this fight. But Sean O'Malley's 100. He's healthy, 100%. And I think he's going to probably finish him. I would probably say second round.
That's a lot of credit to someone we know so very little about in Chris by getting out of that first round, and I love that.
Yeah.
The next fight, I love every fight on this card, man. So these could all be like UFC and ESPN headliners, and that's going to be Irene Aldana versus Yana Kuniskaya. And let's restart that clock.
Yeah, this is interesting. These two are the top ones in the division. Yana is coming up with 2 wins in a row. I think the last one was against Vieira, which was a good win for her. And Irene's tough too. Irene is very tough, especially her fight with Holly Holm. 5 rounds she took, and it just shows how tough she really is in that one. And we're gonna see how she comes back from that. It was a big loss against a big name. To see if she could get a rebound off of a win over Yana. It's gonna be interesting to see. But if I had a pick, I'm gonna go with, just based on I think she has more experience, I'm gonna go with Yana on this one.
Nice.
I think Yana by decision.
Very nice. Love that. The only heavyweight fight on the main card is, goddamn, dude, I can't see this getting out of first 30 seconds, let alone the first round. And we've got the Shoey, the New Zealand nuclear bomb dropper, Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy, the God of War. Go for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one is I don't know, man. And like Greg Hardy does have that one punch knockout power. He could definitely knock out Ty if he lands that big shot. And the same thing with Ty too. At one point, he was 3-0 coming in the UFC. He was 3-0. He had wins over RJ Lasky. He had wins over Asker, Rashad Couture. It was a really big prospect coming in the UFC, and then he kind of hit a hiccup. Losing to guys like Dos Santos, Ivanov, Spivak, so he lost some really tough guys, but now he's back in the winning column, having wins over Stephen Struve and Hunsucker. So good wins over him. He's kind of coming back to his old ways. And I think experience is going to play a big factor on this one. So I'm going to go with Ty on this one. And that'll probably be a decision because Greg is tough. So I think I'll probably pick Ty on the decision.
That's wild. A decision for that fight. It's like the one fight you don't think is going to go to decision. It probably does, like Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. No one thought that was getting out of the first minute. Co-main event of the night, man. Coming off a title loss, Gilbert Burns versus the Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson. That is a style makes fights right there. It's not a type of fight.
Yeah, this is exciting one. This is the one that probably I'm most excited about for. Like I said, I think the past episodes I've always made the statement that I think Wonder Boy could be the next champion, could be Usman, in my opinion. And coming from a karate background, we look up guys like him. We look up guys like Sage Northcutt. We look up guys like Raymond Daniels. And speaking of Raymond Daniels, Burns brought him to his camp. So it's gonna be interesting to see, and Raymond Daniels is a world-class karate striker, and so it's gonna be interesting to see. But I think Wonder Boy is really good, especially if it stays on the feet. Wonder Boy is really good at keeping distance, throwing side kicks, throwing flip kicks. He's really good at in movement and keeping distance, and I feel like he's gonna do that the whole fight. And it's gonna be hard for Burns to land that big punch. So I feel Wonder Boy gets the decision win on this one.
Gotcha. And on to the big boy, man, the feel-good hit of the summer. This fight is, in the odds, very, very even. I mean, it looks like Poirier is definitely the favorite based on his last performance. He does have more tools to use. Do you think he's going to use them, or is he going to kind of try to strike with Conor again just on the feet? What do you think?
I feel like the game plan is going to be the same. I feel like he's going to try to press the action more and try to eliminate, I think, as much close as he gets to Conor. He's going to have a much of a higher chance of landing the big shot like he did in the last fight. And that's what he's probably going to have to do, put him against the cage, get close enough so he could throw that big punch and knock him out, which, it worked for him great the last fight. So I feel like that's what he's going to try to do. But when he's going to do that, he's going to walk into some punches, kicks from Conor. So I feel like Conor might play the counter game on this one, which is a possibility, instead of Conor going forward. Because I think Conor learned when he was going forward, he ate a lot of leg kicks. So I feel like it's going to be Conor. We're going to see a different game plan from Conor, but Dustin, it's probably going to be the same. I'm going to go with Conor in this one. I think he's going to catch him. Probably second round.
Second round. Very nice. Well, let's keep it all in the family. Let's go right down over to Richard. I'll bring you right back down to the top of the card.
Can I just clarify, when he said he's going to catch him, does that mean Conor wins by KO?
Yeah.
Okay.
Conor wins by KO. Yeah.
In round 2. All right, man. Let's go with Richard. Shawna Mele versus Chris Moutinho.
Yeah, like you said, like Alex said, best. This guy, I mean, he's pretty much he's last minute, virtually unknown. He's 9-4 coming in. He's a CS veteran in the independent circuit. 9-4 isn't bad, but when you're going versus someone like Shawna Mele, who's 13-1 and pretty much is the next guy they're pushing for that company with, who's pretty much a highlight reel at this point. He's looking for that one punch, put you out of sleep with 9 of his wins are by KO. You've seen what he's done to Thomas Almeida his last fight. I mean, there's not much to say. Right away, Shawna Mele is going to win by knockout the first round. I'm saying the first round right away.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
O'Malley, that's what he's looking for. And this is just kind of hopefully, you never know. Like I said, in fight game, you never know. This guy could defeat Sean. We never know. You never know. He one punch and that's it. But with Sean, he's looking, for another highlight reel and closer to that belt.
Yeah, I mean, he talks so much shit that he just has so much to prove still, I think. And this being the first fight of the night.
And oh yeah.
Whoo, doggy, this is where he wants to be right now. He
Yeah.
just wants to get in there and just shoot fish in a barrel at this point, as far as
Exactly.
not easy competition, but he wants to make it look easy, obviously. Next fight, Donna versus Yana Kuniskaya.
This fight, like Alex said, Irene, she fought last year. She's been out for a month, so there might be some, cage rust. She fought last October versus Home, which a 5 round. She's a warrior. 5 rounds, she went with one of the best in the world. It wasn't kind of a one-sided fight, pretty much, but we shows how durable, how tough a fighter she is. She's not going to be a fighter you can easily put away. And with Yana, she's coming off 2 wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken. She's right now, looking to get a win streak. If she beats Irene, she might be in title contention. With this weight class, the female, you never know. You could do a 3 and right away you're next in line for a shot. With saying that, I think Yana's gonna win by decision. I just think the experience is gonna be in her favor.
Gotcha. Heavyweight fight, man. Tai Tuivasa, Greg Hardy.
If you leave this out, if you look at the numbers, it's crazy how much power these men have in their in their hands. With Tuivasa, he has 11 wins and 10 are by knockout. Hardy, 7 of his wins are 6 by knockout. I don't see this being a grappling affair at all. I see this being a KO immediately in the first or second round. And based on experience and his recent fights, winning 2 in a row, I'm going to give it to Tuivasa. I think he's going to win. See Hardy doing much. It's not in his favor. Him coming in the game really late, and he's fought some tough guys. I was really impressed when he fought Volkov. He went 3 rounds. He went the distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Hardy did pretty well, but this isn't. Volkov will go the distance. He doesn't have the Tuivasa has, and I just see him getting knocked out. I don't see Hardy passing the first round.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Co-main event of the night: Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Thompson.
The fight, I think a lot of my picks are going to be the same with Alex. Obviously,
No shame in that, no shame.
Wonder Boy. Yeah. With Wonder Boy, Alex and I are going to kind of one-sided because we come from somewhat of a karate background. We love his style, that sideways stance. He's kind of forgotten. He was kind of mixing the shuffle, and he's beating guys like Ellenberger, Cote, Whitaker at one point. And you kind of got lost, and now he's in here where if he defeats Burns, I think he should get a shot at the World Championship. He definitely, he had 2 chances versus Woodley, and they're both by majority decision, majority draw, a majority loss. So he's right there. He's that close to gold. And with this fight, it takes him right there, and it'll be an exciting fight versus him and Usman. We're seeing that striker, that classic match versus a stand-up fighter versus a ground fighter, and this is a good test versus Burns. And Burns is the same way. If he wins, he's back in title contention as well. And Burns really needs this after his performance versus Usman. He really needs to have a stellar performance. It just can't be this 3-round decision. He has to somehow just kind of not dominate, but really a match that stands out, because that weight class is pretty much anyone could jump and get a shot at that belt.
It's pretty open right now for sure.
Oh yeah. And by saying that, I'm gonna
you restart that over. And the main event: Connor versus Dusty, the Diamond.
Boy, no worries. I'm not trying to be biased. It's kind of hard not to.
You got to pick some. Just picking one person doesn't make you biased. You grabbing a Connor shirt or an action figure?
Because I'm such a big Connor fan. I think I have some Connor shirts over there, but I just got this beautiful plush figure.
Oh, do you cuddle with it at night?
But yeah,
I'll move the clock back a little bit for that. So there you go.
Connor. No worries. With that said, Dustin, like Alex said, I feel like Dustin's going to come with the same game plan. Conor really needs to throw a left hand and, make something happen. I felt in his last fight, Conor was kind of flat-footed, and I felt like he was kind of off his time. He said he's hungry. I think he needs that, and he needs that. We need that old Conor. I think he needs that mental edge in order for him to come out like his old school self. I think coming off as a guy doesn't really work for him. I don't know. Maybe I just think mentally he wasn't there. And now there's some heat. So it's going to be an exciting fight. With that said, I think Conor's going to knock him out in the second round.
Just like your brother thinks, I believe. You guys have just the same picks, man. So if you guys tie and beat me, you got to split that championship title.
Yeah.
Right. Ivan, you are up.
Yes.
All right, I'm just hoping that my audio is not that bad, but if it is, I apologize once again.
You're all good.
But you guys can hear me clearly or no?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, you're good.
We're good.
Okay.
And starting with the first
right
fight of the
ahead,
night, Shawna, Mele, Chris Moutinho, 60 seconds.
Like I said, I agree with with Rich and Alex. I'm not really familiar with Chris, but I mean, I'm obviously an O'Malley fan. I love obviously what he's been doing by far, and I think I discussed it previously before in the last one that he is. I think he needs 2 more fights in him in order for him to be a title contender. Hopefully this one will be very simple, very fast. Hopefully by the second round TKO. That's how I feel the same way. Second round TKO.
Very nice. Heavyweights, or not heavyweights. I wish there was women heavyweights in the UFC. They exist.
For me, it's a tough one on this one here. I'm not familiar with these two these two incredible athletes that I'm not really familiar with. But if I have to pick on this one, and I apologize, I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with Yana on this one, maybe by decision.
That's not crazy for not knowing that very much. Honestly, that's not a crazy pick right there, bro. Don't even worry. What about the heavyweights, the biggie boys?
This is the one that I'm actually very intrigued. This fight is very intriguing. We know already both parties as well, especially with Greg Hardy's, upcoming, former NFL player transitioning to mixed martial arts, and obviously Tsubasa is another incredible heavyweight that I think for me, I think he's underrated, of not being spoken of too much, highly of. I'm gonna have to go with Ty on this one to win this one on. I would say at least at second round TKO that he will do that.
For Ty?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ty on second round. I love Greg Hardy, don't get me wrong, because at least he has the cojones, the balls to go ahead and do what he had to do. But I'd rather go with Ty on this one. And I think Ty might get this upset. And he's another one that should be talked about pretty soon when it comes to heavyweight title contention. So I'm looking forward to it.
Co-main event, Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson.
Honestly, I was debating this with my missus' brother. We were talking about it right now earlier. I don't know if you saw the camera, how we've been discussing. I was like, hey, because he's a big MMA fan, but he just want to be in the camera. This was a tough one for me because we know Stephen has the advantage of length. And obviously, he's a great striker too. A great kick. I mean, for me, I think he knows how to kick very well. And the guy, Wonderboy can fight his ass off. Gilbert, though, on the other hand, he needs, like how Alex said and Richard said too, he needs this win in order for him to be back in that title contention. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is the toughest decision for me, and I'm gonna go with my heart on this one. I'm going to have to go with Gilbert by decision.
Nice.
Not bad. Love that.
Yeah.
This will be a fun one right here, man. Talk about Conor and
This is another one, obviously, that we all are aware of. Hopefully, this is the ending of an era of the trilogy that I'm hoping so, but we still need to see a Diaz and McGregor trilogy as well to end. Besides this one, we need to see that. I mean, we saw Nate Diaz, performance last time. Phenomenal performance. So, I'm hoping that McGregor can, like I said, I'm going with McGregor by heart, I'm going with McGregor decision. Just to end this, and I want McGregor to move forward.
You better
have
put that in
another-
your Tapology pick. That is
Yeah,
wild.
man.
That is wild prediction.
I know it's gonna be wild, but I know Dustin wants to end it, but I want more McGregor to end this. And I think the reason why I say it is because I feel that McGregor now kind of knows where his mistakes was on the second part. And for him seeing the part 2 of what he's done, I think this time he'd be ready for it. And I think this time it's gonna go his way, I'm hoping. And if it does, and I'm hoping that after that, let's end of the trilogy with Diaz as well. Might as well.
I feel you.
I mean, that's how I feel about it.
Money fights all day.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Cool, man. I will go next, and then I'm going to let Coach Rage lay the law down on all of us. Shawna Mele versus Chris Moutinho. The only thing I know about Chris is very little research. He's coming off of 2 finishing wins, but one was a submission, one was a TKO. He's about 5'7". That's the biggest stat that I can think of right now that would have played a factor into this. Because Sean knows his range, and he loves to be lanky about it, but he also likes the pressure and not really wait very long. I think he likes to feel his range out with both his legs and kicks, and then once he has it, it's good night, Eddie Wineland, shit like that. I think Sean is this is gonna be like your bigger brother beating the shit out of you in a video game. It's just gonna be a sparring session, in my opinion. It's gonna be fancy kicks, crazy taunts, just like his Thomas Almeida fight. I see it being round 1 for Sean. I would love to see an upset. It reminds me very much of when Joe Soto took that title shot against TJ Dillashaw on like 6 hours notice. This would be a crazy, crazy upset. Absolutely, for sure. And the sugar train would hit that brick wall again. I just don't think it's going to happen. So I'm going Sean KO round 1. Like KO, like out cold, flat line, stiff, Tank Abbott style.
Wow.
I hope he's safe. I hope Chris is okay after this, but I just don't see it going very well for him. Irene Aldana versus Yana Kuniskaya. I appreciate both of these fighters. I love Irene a lot. I have reasons not much to like Yana. She's kind of talked some shit on a homegirl, Tanya, but they both have losses to Tanya and Invicta. That being said, I think that Irene has a fire in her pantaloons right now that is going to get her to that decision. I do think it will be a decision, even though she has some pretty sick finishes lately, but she is coming off that Holly loss, and Yana's coming off of a decision victory, I believe. This is absolutely going to be for a title shot. I don't see any other way that this can't be for Shevchenko. I mean, Lauren Murphy's in the mix. Maybe the winner of this gets Lauren, and that's the title eliminator. If not, make that the women's match of the summer later this season. So I'm going Irene decision, and that's pretty much it, man. Tai Tuivasa versus Greg Hardy. The only reason I think that the odds are in Ty's favor is because Greg is coming off of that 1 loss. That's it. Otherwise, this fight is dead even. Not a lot of feeling out, a lot of bolos thrown, a lot of close your eyes and just aim for a head and hope something smashes a watermelon. Bunch of power, no fear from either one of these guys. At the end of the day, though, I think Ty is going to be on top of that cage in front of 10,000 people drinking that shoey, shouting out to New Zealand with that KO. I just think that he's just a little angrier, a little more reckless, but in a good way, a way that he just gets it done a little bit quicker than Greg does. Greg kind of tends to feel it out a little bit longer than Ty, where Ty just comes out and just like, fuck it, I'm gonna throw. So I'm doing Ty KO round 1 on that one. Styles make fights. This is the epitome of that sentence. This is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt with great striking versus a great striker who's been able to implement wrestling defense into his game plan. Obviously training with, I believe, his brother-in-law, Chris Weidman, on the ground. You said Gilbert Burns brought in, not Ramon Decker, Raymond Daniels?
Raymond Daniels, yeah.
Holy shit, who is world champion striker. Is it going to be enough to deal with the stand-up, or just dodge the stand-up and get inside and just take it where it needs to go on the ground? Gilbert was doing very well in that Usman fight until he wasn't. So he still has that stand-up confidence, but he's a world championship jiu-jitsu black belt fighter who would definitely, I think, do very well if he can get Thompson down. But Thompson, with his range and that point karate fighting style, could keep it on the outside and start picking him apart. I'm going to have to pick Burns by decision. That's just the smart money right there. All right. This fight's interesting because Conor said that takedowns are now illegal, and Dana White has now approved that rule. There will be no takedowns in this fight. That's a joke. I think Conor was kind of trolling on that one, but we all know that he really wasn't. Conor said that he wasn't prepared for leg kicks in a fight where so much is on the line in a sport where leg kicks exist. How the fuck can you not prepare for every single weapon your opponent can throw? I don't understand. Maybe he was trolling an excuse. I think that's bad form anytime it happens, especially when Conor, who is the king of bad form, usually takes losses. I mean, besides the QB, fuck. Dustin has way more tools, but Conor only needs the one left. Conor doesn't usually lose 2 in a row. I don't think he ever has lost 2 in a row because it went from Nate to Cowboy to Khabib to Dustin. So it was win, loss. So I would really like Conor to slide that left hand in. I'm going to have to do, round 1 Conor. That's what I want. I'm going to say it.
Boom.
That's just what I want. I really want to see that. I love Dustin. Dustin's really stepping up his game and really starting to build a legacy. I just want to see that Conor win. And now the man with the plan. This dude could literally kick all of our asses all at the same time. Coach Rage, you have no timer. The floor is yours. We are humble in your presence. Shawna, Mele, Chris Moutinho.
Thank you. I don't know anything about Chris. I don't understand. A couple of you admitted to being Sean O'Malley fans. I don't get it.
I hate his personality, but I like what he does in the ring.
Man, he's so overrated. He's been spoon-fed, and the whole Skittles things. I don't get it. But the question is he being spoon-fed here again? Chris is coming out of the Diaz camp, so it doesn't sound like he's being spoon-fed.
There were other fighters also that raised their hand who did not get picked, who are definitely in the top 15.
Okay.
I don't know off the top of my head who they were particularly.
Yeah.
But Chris wasn't the first person to step up for sure. I don't know if the other fighters just couldn't get clearance or, like you said, Dana was kind of stat padding.
Yeah.
Very, very, very possible.
The UFC is very guilty of preferential treatment. It's not fight fixing outright, but it is star manufacturing. And Sean O'Malley is a manufactured K-pop star. So a legitimate pick I can't give you, but I'm going to say Chris chokes him the fuck out in round 2.
All right. I love that. As entertained by Sean's very Conor-esque in-ring personality.
Oh, exactly. This is the baby version of Conor and Nate.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I would love that prediction as well. That would be fantastic because I also like when hype train gets derailed embarrassingly as well. So I'm a fan of both styles of personality in the cage. But you heard it here first. I think Coach is the first person in this podcast to pick Chris for that victory.
I think someone else could pick Chris.
Did Ivan?
No. Okay. Well,
Probably Ivan.
There you go.
He's drunk enough too.
I think Ivan's.
Wait, what's going on?
Did you pick Sean O'Malley to win, or did you pick the other guy?
No, I picked Sean O'Malley.
Okay, yeah. So Coach is the only person picking, not Sean.
Well, I mean, Coach, I get your point, but I wanted to add to what you said. I get your point that O'Malley is very, very manufactured. The fact that he's over catered and is given obviously these fights that are coming up, but I still feel that O'Malley will do something eventually. I don't know. Chris said, I think with O'Malley, it just his charisma that he has. We see it with Covington. We seen it.
He's a social media mastermind. He knows how to talk shit.
But in the octagon, it proves already it's still for me by far. I mean, it still has a lot more to do. But I know that that's something that is not your cup of tea, and I respect that. Because you know you're the coach, you're the rage and the age. You know, hey, not hating at all, man. I don't know, but I'm just saying that I think if you, that's why I said earlier. If you heard what I said, like I said, if you give O'Malley at least 2 more other fights, then we could talk about title contention. But he needs 2 of these fights to be big when he's done by far.
He might suffer from the Macy Barber, where as soon as he fights a top 10, he gets his kneecap blown out. So we'll
see.
Time will tell. Yeah,
we'll see. And he is in the most stacked division in the UFC. The bantamweight is just
And everyone he fights, every time he beats them, you know, pundits will say, "Oh, that was just the number 15 guy. Let's see him fight the 13 guy," and then it's going to be the 9th guy, and then the 5th guy. So,
well, and there's a
that wall is.
There's a legitimate durability question with him. He's fragile and he breaks.
Two major foot injuries. I mean, he's only like 22.
He's
23.
Emotionally fragile too, but.
Oh yeah. I've seen clips of his podcast where he backtracks on everything he says. It's
okay, so Aldana and Kuniskaya. Now, Irene, in her last fight against Holm, I think she looked terrible. But my understanding is she had a broken foot. Yana. Oh man, this is going to be a close fight. I'm going to go with Yana, but I think it's probably going to be a decision. Irene definitely has the better boxing, but Yana is more rounded, great kicks, and better grappling. So, yeah, I'm going to lead towards Yana decision.
Very nice. The heavyweights, Ty versus Greg.
Yeah. So my call here is probably going to surprise everyone. I think Greg Hardy wins by decision. Now I'm no fan of Greg Hardy. The domestic abuse I never got over that. I will not. Fuck that guy. But
you said what we were all thinking.
In the fight, this is what I see. Ty has stayed the same from day one. He fights the way he fights. He has not progressed at all. He has not evolved at all. I really like Ty. You know, I like Ty to the point where I thought it was funny where he came out to Celine Dion. I thought that was okay. No one else could do that. So, but Greg has been working consistently and improving, and coming from a professional football background, he is going to take it to the ground. Even if it's just a tackle and not even a double leg, or he can straight tackle Ty and just lay on top of him, lay and pray, get the decision. And actually, I think that's kind of how it's going to go. They'll chuck some rocks at each other. Greg will push Ty against the fence, maybe get the takedown, but it's going to be physical control, stifling the striking. And I think Greg gets the decision.
Cool. Love that. Co-main event, Gilbert Burns, Wonder Boy.
Yeah. This, I don't think this is going to be as close as it should be. A couple things. Stephen Thompson's takedown defense has consistently gotten better. Striking is not even comparable. Gilbert does have good speed and power, not great technique, not great positioning, not great understanding or technical strategy. He's more of a brawler who's had great success with his power in terms of striking. Brilliant jiu-jitsu practitioner. However, if you can't get it to the ground, jiu-jitsu is irrelevant. That's how I see this going. Wonder Boy has been working on his takedown defense, has been working on it with Chris Weidman, who, He's pretty good.
He's still my boy.
Thank you. And one of the promotional videos that UFC put out on YouTube, Stephen Thompson was talking about all the champions that he trained with, and Anderson and Lyoto were on that list. So I just had to point out my teammates. So the other thing,
Chris brought in Stephen Thompson to be Anderson. Is that correct? I think in those 2 fights.
what's that?
Did Chris Weidman bring in Stephen Thompson to be Anderson in the training sessions back in the day? Is he the double?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I know that Stephen's been to Black House back in the day.
Right.
Yeah, that's all I was pointing at. But the other thing that makes me pick against Burns is he is doing something. So cardinal sin for a strength and conditioning coach is to do what's called simulation training. So the fight coaches, the striking coach trains the striking, the grappling coach trains the grappling, strength conditioning coach works on athletic attributes, speed, power, endurance. The S&C coach does not simulate the fight. You don't. So I saw him doing things like holding an elastomer, a rubber band, or a resistance band, laying on a stability ball and pretending to ground and pound with resistance on a Swiss ball. Terrible exercise, but it's also a cardinal sin where the S&C coach is not staying in his lane and muddying the waters, especially neurologically. It's professionally, it's just completely inappropriate and disrespectful, but also it's detrimental to the fighter's performance. So there's a number of things like that he's done in this camp with this fight, with this S&C coach. Whoa. My screen just went blank and
we see you, we hear you.
You're good.
You're still good.
Okay, yeah. Whoa. Okay, so I guess I'm not supposed to be putting out information about simulation training.
The FBI hears you, man.
Man.
Dana White's got them, the hacker police on you.
Yep. Won't be the first time. Anyone have any black helicopters outside there? Oh, sorry. Okay, so Derek.
Actually, I kind of do. I live by a police station.
All right. So Stephen Thompson, is he going to win by KO or by decision? I think he wins by decision. I think he's going to pick Gilbert apart, but I think Gilbert is incredibly tough, has a tremendous chin. And I don't know what's going on here.
No worries. We still see you.
Yeah, you're still good.
Still see me?
Yeah,
Okay.
flash for sure, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I think Wonder Boy by decision.
Beautiful. And
Here we
some
go.
people, casuals may never heard of these guys, but the hardcores know who these are. This guy Dustin Hararar and Connor McGregor.
Yeah.
Some unknowns.
So T-Mobile Arena in Vegas sold out almost instantly. That's pretty cool.
At full capacity too, for sure. They're not doing them limited seats.
Right. They're not doing the bullshit. Yeah. This fight. So the question marks, has Connor made the appropriate adjustments? I believe he has, as far as defending the leg kicks. And is Poirier going to use more of a whole MMA approach, or is he going to get stuck trying to win the way he won last time? So I think McGregor has done the appropriate homework to deal with leg kicks, calf kicks. I don't believe that Poirier is going to repeat the same strategy. I think he's going to come out with a more well-rounded MMA approach. Also, on the ground, Dustin's is head and shoulders above McGregor. So that's just the logical thing to do. Yeah, so I think Dustin takes this. How's he win? I think he wins by decision. Yeah.
Nice. Dustin's wins are never quick. He does have to acclimate and accumulate points, damage taken before he can finish or get to that decision. And obviously Connor's, all of his wins are very quick. All of his losses take a while. You said that Dustin will actually change his game plan a little bit, even though he technically may not have to because of the way he won last time. What do you think? Do you think he's going to grapple more, wear him out, go for the takedowns and tire Connor's hands out, build up the lactic acid, and then kind of snake his way into a...
I think each round is going to be what I call mixed martial arts, right? So you strike in, you strike through the striking range, kick, punch, clinch, grapple, wrestle, try to get it to the ground. If it goes to the ground, McGregor's got to scramble.
Yeah.
Gotta, right?
Which is where he gets fastest based on his fight history. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And it's also where Poirier has the biggest advantage. Now, Poirier could be, I think it would be unwise and outright stupid to try and repeat the exact same game plan because it already worked once, right? Both camps know that it already worked once, right? So McGregor has the money and the manpower to hire the best to, okay, well, how do I deal with calf kicks? How do I address this? Blah, blah, blah. I think it's going to be a little bit of kickboxing, some clinches, some cage work, some attempted takedowns, some successful takedowns. And it's going to be a little bit messy. But I do see Dustin. It's a 5-round fight. I see him winning 3 of the 5 rounds.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't see McGregor. I actually really haven't seen McGregor's KO power. And is it still there? I don't know.
That Cowboy fight was 2 years ago, something like that. It was like
that Cowboy fight was pretty dicey, pretty questionable. A lot of silly shit happened there. I'm not outright saying that the fight was fixed, but
Mark Coleman might agree or disagree with the.
There you go. Yeah.
And one last question I want to leave with everybody before we end this is the literal $100 million question here. You mentioned Connor has the money to train. Connor has the money to buy a country. Do you think that at all would affect someone like that's fight hunger? Or is he more worried about his legacy than the dollars? And obviously we have a very hungry Dustin who has a lot left to build on his legacy, who does not have that same money in the bank. We're talking hot sauce versus whiskey here. Do you think that Dustin just has more fire because he has less cash? And does that affect Connor's motivation to really get in there?
I don't know. Connor's
anybody can take this question, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Connor's already surprised me after the Mayweather fight where he made the boatloads of money.
Right.
He came back to the UFC, and I wasn't expecting him to do that. So that already surprised me. So I don't know. I don't know what motivates McGregor.
Yeah,
but
I mean, yeah, it's true. I mean, when you've done everything, pretty much you've done the sport. He was a 2-division champion. It's made the money. Where does the motivation? Where does it come? And I think with Dustin, that's what makes him more dangerous because it's kind of like he has nothing to lose mentality, and that makes a dangerous fighter. And McGregor, and with McGregor, I feel like a lot of these guys don't really care about legacy. I think they care about how much money can they make and how much they can make. I'm
with you on that.
Isn't that not?
And I feel like legacy is in the second, but money is the more important thing. I feel like
Is that not the end game right there? Is that money?
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel
none
like
of these fighters are making. Only 2 or 3 of them in the current era are making.
Yeah, but I feel like
NFL money.
That's the unfortunate part right now. What's going on? It's that the fact is that nowadays we're seeing these top contender fighters that were before, and now is all for the prize money. It's more about whatever sells tickets, whatever sells everything else.
Of course,
is coming to that era.
Why would you take the same ass beating for $20 or whatever? What is it like? It's like 5 and 5 for the first fight of the night.
But it's like what Alex said though. Like, I mean, I get I agree with him. That's why when I add on top of that, it's just that nowadays it's like you really don't give a shit about your legacy. You're more like, give me my 50 grand or 100 grand and I'm done, and then I go home. That's it. I mean, it's for the sport itself. For me, my opinion, it hurts. That is taken that way. It shouldn't be that way. It should be, if you're really into the sport of mixed martial arts, should be by heart, not by the money. That's the way. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Well, it's kind of like the guys like in the old school guys. They fought because they wanted to be the best. They wanted to be champions. They wanted to be number
absolutely.
1. And it's not like that anymore.
100%.
And it's not like that anymore. All they care about is,
I'm with you with that. I'm not saying you're wrong. That's why I'm adding to what you're saying. That's what it is nowadays. That is occurring that now at this era. It is unfortunate. So that's what really, in a way, the last thing we want in this sport. And Coach could tell me if I'm wrong on this one or not. We don't want this shit to be like how boxing is now. If you get my point.
Yeah, I get that.
Back then, boxing was very different. Now at this point, it's like, who gives a shit now about boxing? And I'm not disrespecting the sport. I love boxing, but the problem is that how you said, Alex, it's just the fact that money comes in play. And when you get overwhelmed with money, you don't really give a shit about you win or lose. It's not even about that anymore.
Yeah,
it's about who walks out with the, I'm walking out with half of the damn money of what I'm making, and that's it.
Right.
And it hurts the sport, especially in mixed martial arts. And I don't want that to happen in mixed martial arts. It's already too late to save boxing. It's really hard to save boxing nowadays. But now in mixed martial arts, we hope that it doesn't go that route. But if you notice, Dana White is heading toward that transition. Because he won't book real fighters. Come on, look what happened when, for example, what's his face? Rakovic, when he won, right? When he beat
Adesanya.
Adesanya.
Yeah.
He wasn't hyped. He wasn't very hyped over him, and that's a shame.
Right, like Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. There was fucking no Amanda Nunes in those promotional videos. It was
I agree.
Return of Rousey versus the champion as the fucking asterisk on that. So I do get what you're saying. But I think that if your legacy can get you more money, perfect. That's ideal. And as far as the talking your way into money fights, if you're winning those fights, that's perfect. But Kobe, Connor, Sean, if they talked all that shit and racked up 3, 4, 5 losses in a row, nobody would give a shit. People don't like those characters because they talk the shit and they back it up, and you wait for them to lose. I think more people honestly tune in to watch Sean or Kobe or Connor. A lot of people tune in to watch them lose, which is its own fan base. There's a fan base of people that pay money to watch those downfalls. Obviously, for no reason.
Mayweather did it best.
That's why I paid for a couple of George St. Pierre fights because my favorite knockout is him and Sarah, and I wanted Dan Hardy to do that to him. I was like, I'm going to buy this pay-per-view to see Dan Hardy flatline this guy with a left hook, and it didn't happen. But I bought the pay-per-view to see it, and that's absolutely a marketing tool right there.
All right. Well, and I apologize for interrupting, but I want to hear Coach's perspective. Coach, your thoughts about this. I want to hear your thoughts about right now this discussion that we just had. I want to get your thoughts about what we're just literally just having now. I want to hear your 2 cents about it.
Yeah. So I see what you're saying about not wanting MMA to turn into the circus that boxing is.
Don King.
Yeah. But boxing, so I work, I'm licensed to work in boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. So I'm not talking out of ignorance here. I actually know all three sports. The pay structure, the negotiation, and how the economics of boxing is completely different than MMA. So one thing that needs to happen, MMA fighters need to make more money. Period. They're chronically, systemically underpaid, and they train more than boxers or kickboxers. It's the nature of the sport. You must. You don't have a choice. Your rest day is still training. It's just light training. It's jujitsu instead of getting punched in the face. But so, MMA fighters need to make more. UFC needs to pay people more. All promotions unilaterally need to pay their fighters more money. With the boxing has been twisted and corrupt its entire existence. So it's kind of hard to feel bad for what's happened. You know, when your roots are with organized crime, which all of prize fighting was controlled, was organized crime. You know, it's hard to feel bad for that. And everyone wants to hate on Jake Paul. But I don't know. You don't have to buy the pay-per-view, right?
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
But here we are talking about it, you know?
That's right. That's right. And there's a whole lot of music videos out now that I don't watch. You know, it's just like that kind of
like the number one selling genre, not in my life for some reason.
Exactly.
So I can't argue.
Exactly.
Can't argue with it.
Yeah, like these artists I've never even heard of, 14 million views on it. Like, what? So I don't know. I kind of think that there's an ass for every seat, to each their own. I don't know if the media circus is good or bad for the sport. It hasn't affected me one way or the other. So I don't know. Let them. My position is fighters need to get paid.
Yeah.
And whatever happens. I think the UFC has actually done a really great job. Even like, okay, so this conversation has happened before. Like, people were pissed off about CM Punk getting into the UFC, being given that opportunity. Where I don't know, you know, I train guys who definitely deserved that opportunity on merit, but it's show business first, right? And
fire rates and butts.
Exactly, right. And if there's no pay-per-view model, if there's no stadiums being sold, I got no job. Fighters have no chance. They've got nothing to grow into. So let the big money fights happen, and let the chips fall where they may. So I didn't hate CM Punk. I was actually kind of sad that he didn't do better.
Yeah.
I knew when they announced that Mickey Gall was the opponent, I definitely was like, oh shit. But when they announced the Mike Jackson fight, I was like, oh, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And obviously
specifically that fight, I really thought, oh, okay, so you got a pro wrestler versus a photographer. And you know, I think we could have something there, but it was.
He's a journalist, okay?
Oh, my bad. But it's a multifaceted skill set to be a journalist, where a photographer is okay. So it translates to MMA a little bit better. You got to take pictures and write about it.
There we go.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I was sad that CM Punk didn't do better. And anyway, so I don't know how I got off on that tangent. My thing is more money, please. More money. please.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all of us, even pay the fans. Make the pay-per-views less and the merch less.
Right? I mean, pay-per-views are
It's ridiculous.
and
You have you have to buy the app and then pay for the
Buy the
pay-per-view.
pay-per-view.
right? Yeah.
Coach, let me ask you this question.
Okay.
And I'm very curious. Yeah, I know I'm coming in. I'm very curious. I know because we got into the show very quickly, but there's two questions that I have.
Yeah.
But I'll go with the first. First one is, and I asked Chris this, off the air previously. Your thoughts of why Dana White is doing an interim heavyweight title, knowing that Ngannou is not going to be, fighting in Aughed.
He's not. He just won the belt. He's not unhealthy. He's in camp. It's not like he's injured. It's not like he's
not injured. He advised Dana White that he's off until September. I'll be ready. I can have full camp ready. By September, I'll be ready to fight. But obviously, he's creating this because in Houston they're hosting, and they need a title fight. So adding the interim with Derek Lewis because he's the hometown boy.
That's it right there. So I want Coach to prove me right or wrong. So my opinion was that they just want to sell a pay-per-view, and a title fight's the way to do that. And putting butts in seats, like you said, Derek Lewis, hometown. Cyril Gane is, I guess, a really fast up-and-comer heavyweight. He's doing very well for himself, but never fought anyone like Derek or Ngannou. And yeah, I honestly think it's just him just trying to like juice up this particular pay-per-view, or even make it a pay-per-view instead of a fight. And this is where I think right or wrong.
I think Dana is preserving and protecting Ngannou. Ngannou is a draw.
Definitely.
But he's only that way if he wins.
Yeah.
And legit, Derek Lewis is a threat to beating Ngannou. Cyril Gane is a threat
to beat him.
Cyril Gane is a threat to beating Ngannou. Cyril Gane, technical prowess, movement, understanding. He just dissected Volkov, and look what Volkov did to Lewis up until 11 seconds.
His balls was hot.
Oh. Beat the fuck out of him for 14 minutes and 49 seconds, and then just kind of brain farted and dropped his hands and caught a missile. So I think it's gamesmanship. I think the smart money is to preserve Ngannou, get one more fight, make it an interim title fight, increase pay-per-views, increase crowd sales. Derek Lewis is going to sell out that stadium, period, no matter who he fights, right? So let's make it an interim title so that everyone can be happy about the money, protect and save Ngannou for later. And then one of these guys who has the potential to beat Ngannou will go on and fight Ngannou. But it's too big a risk for Lewis and Ngannou to fight, and then you lose your money with Ngannou, and then you have Gane over here. What do we do with this guy?
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's just milking the money.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think too. There's no other reason. There's 4 months out, and he just wants to put a major heavyweight title in a summer fight.
But I gotta say, if it was up to me, I'd do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't mad at that for sure. And well, that's all the questions that I've got. Ivan, you good over there, homie? I don't even know if you're still. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to end this now then.
No,
Ivan's back.
Oh, I'm here. Okay, the last question that I had, and I put it back on camera.
There we go.
My apologies. Yeah, no, I apologize for that. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for my video and audio. Obviously, I'm not at home. I'm obviously out and about. But the other question I have, Coach, your thoughts of Jake Hager now calling out Fedor.
That's a horrible
Oh my god,
decision.
that's real? I didn't know about that.
And we already know that Alex is a big fan of Fedor, and that's his like #1 fighter of the world, which I'm not even gonna start clowning on his ass.
What,
But,
Fedor doing a freak show fight?
Alex has
thank you,
he has a
Richard.
life-size battle buddy pillow that he's.
Thank you, Richard, for putting detail on that. But
Yeah,
by the way, to all of our
Was it
audio
going to be a
platforms-
Hongman Choi #2? Coming up
Oh,
after
Hong
that?
Boy Choi #2. Wow. But what are your
You
thoughts,
fight
Coach?
Hongman Choi. You fight that giant.
How are your thoughts,
So,
Coach, about that fight?
So I this is the first that I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, same.
Oh man, I don't. Yeah, Jake, come on now. Come on now.
Come on now. Come on now.
He's not a fighter. He's not. He's he's a professional wrestler.
Who has a wrestling background?
But but Fedor hasn't looked good. Whoa! So the last Bellator event that I attended was at the Inglewood Forum. I don't remember the date, but both Fedor and Jake Hager fought on that card, and Fedor got slept by Bader.
Yeah.
And Hager, I don't know, fought some janitor or some shit.
Oh, that was the art.
He was a butcher, okay?
Yeah.
It was literally like some guy that they
He was a meat?
right? And it like,
He
hey,
went to a meatpacking plant or something.
dude,
Yeah.
you got to shave before you do the press conference. I am not kidding. I'm like fucking. No, the press staff fucking talked to him about that, and they're like, bro, you look like a slob. You got to clean up on national television. Yeah, so I don't even know how to comment on this. Grandpa Fedor should not be competing anymore. I was a huge fan of Fedor, but as I got more sophisticated as time went on, as I learned about all the fight fixing and Yakuza interference with everything coming out of Japan, then you have to really step back and it makes you question how good Fedor was. And one thing that Fedor was very good at was transitioning. So you transition from striking to grappling. And he was great in the transitions. His striking was not good. His grappling wasn't that great. But transitioning from one to the other, that's where he won his fights. And as a young fighter and a young coach, that influenced me. And I said, oh, transitions are where the fight is won, which, by the way, transitions is where the fights are won. But now I look back and I'm like, I don't think he was as good as we think he was. So anyway,
I agree with that.
knowing that half of his fights at least were jobs, they were fixed. We know that now.
No,
And-
that is not a proof. No one's approved that. There's no evidence.
You can't prove they're real either.
They're not evidence. There's no real evidence of that.
Come on, man.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. So knowing that many of his past performances were works, and knowing that he is well past his prime and that he's to the point, I just don't think he should be fighting. I think he should have retired. When Bader slapped him with the bitch slap, that was just it's time to stop. Jake Hager, whatever. He's actually, he's the Jake Paul of MMA. So
I don't disagree with that at all. That's pretty. Yeah.
there you go. Did that? I hope that wasn't too much rambling.
He's
on
not
for-
making Jake Paul
for
money,
Ivan.
but you know.
No,
Yeah.
no. I enjoyed it.
Actually,
I
they
enjoyed what you
do
said,
make good
and
money in Bellator.
I enjoyed what you said, and a lot of great points of what you said. Absolutely, I'm with you on that. Yes, Fader should have retired, big time. I think he should just been. His legacy was great. How you said, previously that the way how he transitioned, I absolutely agree. I just feel that he needs to, hang the gloves. That's it. You're done.
Should have returned and got knocked out by Henderson.
You have nothing else to prove. Like you see, for example, nowadays there's money fight. This is money fight. So that's why I'm like, okay, we need to stop seeing that nowadays. We need to see upcoming rising stars. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and to be fair, with these guys coming out of the Eastern Bloc, with these guys coming out of the Eastern Bloc, we don't know. We don't know what kind of pressure they're under financially. We don't know who's behind them. We don't know. There's a lot of shady shit that goes on. So Fedor could actually have some obligations and actually need the money. I don't know. I'm just saying it's something to consider.
No, right. Yeah, indeed. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I appreciate everybody coming on.
It's not like Beta to head and fuck pro wrestler.
Yeah. You can find
What's
Championship Online podcast. What's up, dude?
I didn't hear what he said about Bader.
He said Bader's the best, and yeah.
No, Fader.
No, I just said it's not like he hasn't
Hey,
fought
you
pro
can-
wrestlers before. That's all I said. He fought
Continue.
Eugene
When you
Nagata.
find a 7-foot
Bader will
giant,
knock
then
all
you
you
come
shit
talk to
out.
him.
Fans out there watching right now who want to get in on this debate, go find
You
Championship on the Line podcast on
This is a pro wrestling Japan called
Instagram.
Zuda.
You can find Coach Rage on Instagram at the Rage NG. He's got a link to his YouTube, which is with a ton of awesome instructional videos. The man Ivan, doing his best to just keep it together in a party that has no control over. Fully understand. I've been Chris Kennedy. This was awesome. I love having every one of you on here. A bunch of great points of view. And we will catch you with the recap show next Monday to see how much do I reach.
And the new champion,
And the-
ladies and
and
gentlemen, that's
still-
going to be me.
No,
Still,
no,
right
no,
here.
no.
Rage,
It's gonna be still.
Rage. For you, I don't think you know
Even
this,
even
but I'm
even
a
Ivan,
two-time champ.
even Ivan knows I'm
I'm
going
a
to retain my
two-time
belt.
champ. And I have the
Look.
most wins, Rage. I have the most
No,
wins of everyone.
look. Don't get
I have the
coach
most
involved.
wins.
If you get coach involved, then there's a whole different story.
Yeah, the most losses as well.
Yeah.
Everyone's lost a bunch of times. I
That's
haven't
right,
lost.
actually.
I have
You
more
actually-
wins.
You have the most title losses.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the most talent, bro. There you go.
All right.
So I mean, you already know that Chris is gonna retain.
I like
I'm
it. He
saying
knows.
that.
The man knows. I appreciate it.
He doesn't know anything. We're talking about a guy that literally got lucky with one win. I got lucky.
I've defended it. I've
But
defended
who's
it.
been the closest? Who's been the closest in the typology? I have.
I've won almost
been
all of
close.
You were
All right.
last place last time.
Okay,
Oh my
last
God.
time, but no, the last one I was close.
You're gonna continue this
remind
next
me of
Monday. I'm gonna
Yeah,
hit that
seriously.
button right now.
You're good
yeah,
as your
okay.
last match, and you're
Hold on,
last
before
place.
we-
And